Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel and welcome back to another live stream of Super Rugby Pacific. This one, the Hurricanes versus the Chiefs. This is a massive game between these two sides. And the good news is we should get some very good rugby. We've already seen two close games throughout the weekend and I believe that this game will be no different. These two sides could go down to the wire. Of course, the Hurricanes at the moment, they are unbeaten throughout their Super Rugby Pacific campaign. The Chiefs currently on a 5-match winning streak, though, up against the Hurricanes. So the question mark is, can the streak for this season continue, or can the streak from the past come back and get the Hurricanes once again? But they have got, once again, a hugely strong lineup for this contest. The same can be said for this Chiefs side. And both of these sides coming in with 100% ready to go for what will be an epic match of Super Rugby Pacific. Looking through at the starting lineup for the Hurricanes, it is Xavier Numia, Asafa Moore, and Tyrell Lomax. Then Caleb Delaney and Isaiah Wakaliawiri will be slotting in as the lock-in duo. Brad Shields, Peter Lakai, and Braden Yossi, who I picked as one of the standout players for that number 8 jersey throughout all of Super Rugby Pacific. Of course, the massive change at 9, TJ Perenara. He is in rather than Roygaard, who has been injured. He is going to be out for a relatively long time, which opens the door now for TJ Perenara. Can he get back into the ABs? Brett Cameron there at 10. Then Geordie Barrett and Billy Proctor in the midfield on his outside with Kenny Naholo, Josh Morby, and Ruben Love as the back three. Looking through at the Chiefs starting lineup, it will be Aiden Ross, Simasoni Tokiaho, and Ruben O'Neill, Natoa Akoya, and Tupavai as the locking duo. Then Samapeni Finau, Luke Jacobson moves to 7. Even though he's had a very good start to the season at number 8, they've decided to switch him and give Wallace Satiti an opportunity there in the number 8 jersey. Cortez Ratama and Damien McKenzie as the 19 combo. Anton Leonard-Brown and Daniel Rona in the centres. And then Atena Nana Satoro, Imoni Narawa, and Sean Stevenson as the back three. In the chat we have got there, go to Waikato Chiefs. And like you lads, I'm cold, says Cool Story Bro. You probably need to try and warm yourself up with a blanket or a jersey or something maybe. Might not be a bad idea. We have got there to go the Hurricanes and boo Chiefs, says Carmen. And also started out a Hurricane supporter, moved to Hamilton, became a Chiefs supporter. Now in Melbourne, so I'm a Rebels supporter too. Hurricanes will always be my first team. Go the Canes, says Joe Webby there. That's the thing. This Hurricane side, the way that they've been playing, they have been definitely enticing a few viewers into supporting the Hurricanes. And same with the Chiefs. These two sides looking very good on the current table. Looking through at the way that the table sat after the games last night. As you can see there, the Waratahs, after picking up their win over the Crusaders, moved up to the 12 points. Seeing as it was golden point time, though, the Crusaders did also receive themselves the one there. The Blues at the top of the bunch, although the Hurricanes do have the game in hand. So even if they were to lose this contest, if they lose it by less than the 7 points, they will go back to top of the table. That is, of course, dependent, though, on whether or not the Chiefs can get themselves some of those big points as well. Still to come in the weekend, we have got the Rebels versus the Highlanders. Rebels in 5th, Highlanders sitting there in at 10th, which I think is a little bit lower than some anticipated. We have got there in the chat, go to Waikato Chiefs mana, says Christopher Dixon. And there as well, but do let me know your score predictions in the chat, ladies and gentlemen, for this contest. Like I mentioned, I think it's going to be a relatively close game, similar to what we've seen for the Super Rugby Pacific weekend up till this point. But the big question mark, I think, is going to be that 9 battle. TJ Perenara versus Cortez Ratama. Both men want the opportunity in the ABs once more. Perenara back in due to that Roygaard injury. Looks like the two sides are very close to making their way onto the field. And then you've got the youngster Cortez Ratama, who's looking to break onto that AB scene. I think so. I wasn't wearing a jersey. Good luck for the match, says Cool Story Bro. Sounds like you've sorted out the problem that you had. Then go Hurricanes, let's party, says Carmen. And also let's go Chiefs, says Marco in the chat as well. And I should mention this game being played at Sky Stadium. Hurricanes, they haven't had too many games at home throughout the Super Rugby Pacific season as of yet. One of their home games actually took place in Melbourne for the Super Round. That was in their game up against the Reds, in which they did go to golden point time. Now in the competition, we've actually seen 3 games go to golden point. And I feel like There is a good chance that we see it go down to the wire here as well. And what's the score on the Wars versus Sea Eagles? I believe they're still all square. After 85 minutes, they're at 22-22. So they went to golden point, but no one has got that golden point as of yet in that contest. Go Hurricanes, let's party. Yes, there's Carmen there. Yeah, Oh, hang on. Late replacement for the Chiefs. Rameka Poihipi is actually at 12, ladies and gentlemen. That is rather than Anton Leonard Brown. And looks like Joshuani and Quintupaia will be the two men off the bench for the Chiefs rather than Joshuani and Rameka Poihipi. So Quintupaia comes in, Anton Leonard Brown completely out, and Rameka Poihipi is going to be at number 12 in the starting side. Also, we're going to get to see Richard Judd for one of the first times of the season. He hasn't had a huge amount of minutes, but that is because there has been Roigard and TJ Perenara also off the bench. Couple players to watch out for. Kalen Boshia, Xavier Rowe for the Chiefs. I'm surprised that they didn't go with Boshia as the starting 7, Jacobson at 8, and then have Satiti coming off the bench. They've decided to throw him in the deep end. Question is whether or not he can float in this matchup. But Geordie Barrett and Billy Proctor in the midfield for the Hurricanes. It's going to be Rameka Poihipi and Daniel Rona for the Chiefs. Very handy. And Wallace Satiti starting for the Chiefs. Don't know much about him, says Joe Webby. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's a decent player. It just seems like a huge risk to go with him in the starting lineup rather than having him come off the bench. You know, for me, I would have had him maybe coming off the bench. Kalen Boshia starting at 7. OMG, come on, Waz, please win. There's pads ablaze there as well, but both sides just about to make their way out of the tunnels. And we will be ready to go for this match. For the Chiefs, they have won their last game up against Moana Pacifica, but they did lose the week prior up against the Crusaders. That was the first and only win that we have seen for the Crusaders throughout 2024. Love from Bangladesh. Says Umbrella Company. Welcome in, mate. And let's go. The Chiefs, says Donald. And yes, Proctor and Ruben Love and Barrett. Says Carmen. Yeah, both of these sides stacked. And the good news is, like, even if there's a couple handling errors and a few penalties along the way, I still think we're going to get a very entertaining game. And if it's not, maybe it's just a case of both sides have cancelled each other out too well. But on paper, this one is like a main event. And hopefully it delivers. So the Hurricanes, in the last 2 weeks, they have only played one game. They were able to beat the Highlanders 47 points to 12. They also beat every opponent before that point, sitting undefeated with 6 wins from the 6 side. Hamish, hope the Highlanders win. Tuned in from the barn in Wellington, South Africa, says Bruce Thompson there. And also we get there 42 for the Chiefs, Canes 32. Says Christopher Dixon. The Hurricanes making their way out onto Sky Stadium. Sounds like a decent crowd in attendance for this match. TJ Perenara. Big chance here for him. Currently throughout the season, he has only played the 4 matches. He has had 2 tries. And I believe he is still chasing the heels of Julian Savia in terms of the overall leading try scorer in Super Rugby Pacific history. The poll was interesting. 61% Hurricanes, 49 or 39% for the Chiefs, says Joe Webby. And yeah, believe it or not, the Hurricanes, even though they're undefeated, come into this game as underdogs up against the Chiefs. I believe that is due to the bye week and also due to the fact that the last 5 times that these two sides have played off, we have seen the Chiefs get themselves the win. But we just saw Cam Roigard. He's been watching on. And unfortunately, he will be watching on for the rest of the season after that big injury. 22 all Wires and Eels come on. Says Marco there, I'm rooting for the Hurricanes, but I think it's going to be a close match. Says Umbrella Company, and are the Canes playing in yellow? They certainly are. And the Chiefs. Oh, they're playing a bit of Triple H's theme music as they're about to start this one. Time to play the game is a quote from that song. And it is time to play the game, ladies and gentlemen. The kickoff just about to take place. Are the Canes playing in... Yeah, we've got 2 sides in home kits was what I mentioned just before, wasn't it? So weird that we can have these 2 sides in home kits, yet in other games we have to have 2 games or 2 sides away from home in their strips. That's going to be kicked into touch by Sean Stevenson to start this match off. Hurricanes did kick it deep into the Chiefs 22. Stevenson with that clearing boot. And hey, Cam Roigard in the stand, says Marco, and 3 tries for TJ tonight, says Pete D. And second half of extra time, I should add for the Wires game. Yeah, they're going down to the wire. And that one up against Manly. Let's going to be thrown in by Asafa Moore, taking its time to make sure he gets that line out accurate. And it goes straight into the hands of Brad Shields over the back. Now Morby taking the contact back to Isaiah Walker-Leowiri from DJ Perenara. Please, Waz, win this game, keep the streak going. Says Pads Ablaze. So we were actually originally going to be covering that Waz game. We thought about it, and then I was a little bit worried that it would get too close to overlapping with this contest. So it's probably lucky we didn't in a way, or else we would have had a bit of an overlap. Same with that Highlanders versus Rebels game. The reason we are covering that one is because it will more than likely overlap with Sharks versus Edinburgh. Unfortunately, we can't guarantee games of rugby union are going to take less than 2 hours anymore, which is a shame. But it also means that sometimes it gets a little bit tight with overlapping streams. Penalty goes to the Hurricanes. Offside 40 metres out. This will be a kickable 3 for Geordie, or even a kickable 3 for Brett Cameron if he wants it. Looks like they're going to kick for the corner here, though. Good afternoon, Kiwi lads. Let's go Hurricanes, says Blues Nate. And also TJ starting, says Connie. He certainly is. The stress of heart rate is too much, says Pads Ablaze. But yeah, TJ in the starting lineup. That is due to the injury of Cam Roigard. Ngātoa Koi, the man who has been penalised for that one. I've got the 10th best line-out in the competition when it comes to the strike rate, the Hurricanes, which pretty much means the extent that they're able to score their tries from line-out time. Only scoring 4 so far throughout the season. Big run from Braden Yossei, taken down by Luke Jacobson. Ball is loose. Wasn't knocked on by the Hurricanes. So it is going to be a play on. DJ Perenara goes across to Brad Shields, the captain of the Canes. 15 metres out in front of the posts for the Hurricanes now. Braden Yossei hits the ball up again. Now after Geordie Barrett thought about the offload, it does go backwards. In fact, Dolman says it's a knock on. So it is now going to be the Chiefs scrum. A little early mistake from Geordie Barrett. The game has turned into more referee replay time than actual game time, says Joe Webby. And let's go the Waz. So we can both have wins from the Tars and the Waz, says Marco there. Yeah, Barrett was looking for the little bit of a miracle offload to TJ Perenara. And it ended in 22-all draw. Doesn't happen too often. Definitely not with golden point times being included, but both sides very even by the sounds of it for that game. Pack weight's 923 for the Chiefs compared to 916 of the Hurricanes, so relatively even in that department for these two sides as well. I should mention the score at the moment is still 0-0 after 3.5 minutes. Scoreboard yet to kick into gear for this match. And we're going to have another scrum reset down on the far side. Chiefs Mana says Daniel Cox, and the Hurricanes says Bavani, and also go. The Hurricanes says Robert Vale. Yeah, just flattening out there. It was that Xavier Numia and Ruben O'Neill having a bit of problems? Yes, it was. So James Dolman has actually popped over to their side of the scrum. Try and make sure that nothing goes wrong here. Currently 4 minutes into this contest. Saw a bit of an attack from the Hurricanes. Nothing yet coming from the Chiefs in terms of mounting an offense. Ball's fed in by Cortez Aratama. And the penalty goes the way of the Hurricanes. Missed last night game. Crusaders blew it. CSP, yeah, a few late decisions for the Crusaders in that game really cost them. And also, like, that's the thing. Like, I know a lot of people are looking at certain moments in that game as what cost the Crusaders. But we've also got to remember, like, they conceded 43 points throughout that game. And if you want to win games of rugby, you can't afford to let your opposition normally score 30, let alone 40 points in regular time. So yes, there was a little bit of controversy at the end, but you still gotta have better defence than 40 points plus in a contest. And Turbo Blade a knock on, the rest missed it, and it led to a try. Was a hard done by Bro, says Marco. Yeah, like, you don't watch a Warriors game without the anticipation of knowing something's not going to go their way. I remember watching one last year, and it was that forward pass that was about 4 metres forward. And everyone went, no, we changed to NFL for just one phase. So that's why it's all right. So, like, you always expect that with the Warriors. Unfortunately, that kick from Brett Cameron has gone over for the Hurricanes. So that will now make the score after 5.5 minutes 3 points to 0 in favour of the home side and the underdog in this match. Gosh, the Satyrs got crushed. I wouldn't say they got crushed because they also scored 40 points. So, yeah, about 12 lead changes throughout that game. Got to be close to a record for Super Rugby. But for me, crushed is when you get beaten by more than kind of 15 points. Going to golden point time up against a side that bet you earlier on in the season, I think it's about the furthest from crush for a win that you can get. And now nice run forward here for the Hurricanes. DJ Perenara goes after Brad Shields. Ruben Love ball on the outside to Asafa Moore. Tries to break through, but he's tackled by Satiti, the youngster. And number 8 now down the short side, Peter Lakai. Trying to get rid of Ratama, but he has knocked that ball on. And it will be another scrum for the Chiefs. Even money Hurricanes. Let's hope it's free dinner, says Bhavani. And let's get a Chiefs money and Wellington Phoenix doing all right into A-League. And good old Windy Wellington. Says Blues Nate. Yeah, they've actually had a very good season, the Wellington Phoenix. Haven't watched a huge amount of their games as of yet. Update scoreboard, Hamish, says Daniel Cox. I can't. It's an automatic online scoreboard. So, I can point at it and hope that it will update, but I have no control over the scoreboard. Ball's now going to go in for Samasoni Taukiaho, but the score does currently sit after 7 minutes. 3-0 for the Hurricanes. Now, Samasoni Taukiaho, nicely claimed by the Chiefs, even though there was a little bit of a hand going on it from the Hurricanes on the way down. Ratama. Looks like he is going to go for the box kick off his left. So down towards the halfway line. Nicely taken by Brett Cameron. Of course, that swirling wind. Beautiful stepping from Ruben Love off the DJ Perenara. Wasn't able to get the pass away or suffer more. Does play halfback. Nice run forward from Caleb Delaney. Now Moore again plays half. Get away to Tyrell Lomax. Good shot from Jacobson and Samasoni Taukiaho. And Cameron back across to Barrett. Ball gone high. This will be a hard one to line up. Looks like Barrett's decided he wants his own and he has been able to take it nicely. Gets the pass out the back door to Josh Morby. Now Billy Proctor can't get his offload. Sitting close to the touchline. 22 metres out from the Chiefs line here for the Hurricanes. 8 minutes into the contest. TJ Perenara goes across to Josh Morby. Great low tackle made from Atinainanga Satoro. So Awakaliawiri. Looks like it was good work in the breakdown and they win the penalty for the Chiefs. So I was thinking maybe they could end up getting penalised for not rolling away from Ruben O'Neill, but they've said he was far enough to the side to not infringe on the breakdown. Justin Marshall just said they were so saturated, those side steps. Was that the word he used? I didn't even know saturated was a word. But it might be. What have you thought of Aiden Ross's season so far? Hamish is Daniel Cox. That's the thing. Props at the moment for the All Blacks are all, for me, relatively up for grabs. Because you've got some of the guys from last season who are no longer there. And you've also got guys from that last All Black squad that aren't quite performing the same way that they did. So Aiden Ross, has he got a chance to make the ABs? Maybe. He's in a good position at the moment in terms of the fact that he's got minutes under his belt and hasn't ended up with that serious injury. Touch wood, of course. We don't want to jinx him, but as long as he can stay match fit, all the props at the moment, I believe, have a really good shot of being able to get him because we don't know what Scott Robinson is after as well. Maybe he does want someone who's more of a scrummager. Maybe he wants a ball runner as his number one with that backup of scrums. We just don't know. That's kicked in a touch from Atinainanga Satoro. Not hugely successfully. We'll be about 30 metres out from the Chiefs line now. They have got themselves the line out here. The Hurricanes are suffering more. To throw this one in this game is making me nervous, says Novman. Now back in behind Geordie Barrett. Josh Morby looked to go on the outside, but does actually fend off a Moni Narawa instead. Does take the contact. Here comes Tyrell Lomax. 20 metres out from the line. It's going to be a new advantage going against the Chiefs. Now, quick hands, Kenny Naholo went to Bryn Yossi. Was just running out of space and also drops that ball. And even Kiwi lads a bit late today. Done some overtime. Oh, the Canes by 3. says Spider-Meek there as well. And that's the thing, this game could be split by a very thin margin. Looks like the Hurricanes are once again going to be taking on the 3 points. So far, the Chiefs have not visited the opposition 22. They've also had 21% territory and about 19% territory. Or 21% possession, 19% territory, I think, were the stats from the first 10 or so minutes of this contest. So the Hurricanes looking to extend that lead, doubling it. If Brett Cameron can get this one over, calling it 15-12 halftime for the Chiefs, says Daniel Cox. Also, you're saying the Hurricanes are only going to get 3-pointers throughout this first half. Interesting. Like I've just said, throughout the first 11 minutes, it's been all Hurricanes, and they are slowly mounting a lead. Cameron hits the post, though, and it bounces back out, so that will remain as 3-0 now in favour of the home side. But Ratama puts it down into the pocket for Damian McKenzie, who was inside of his in-goal area, and does get it into touch about 30 metres once again out from their own line here, the Chiefs. They are yet to see what it is like inside of the Hurricanes 22, spending a total of 0 seconds there at this stage of the match. James Dolman just having a bit of a chat to the lineouts, making sure that they aren't closing the gap there. Now going short. Safa Moore goes to TJ Perenara after Barrett with the short little offload to Peter Lakai. Now, and behind the breakdown was Kenny Naholo waiting for possession. Perenara goes short side. Away to Geordie Barrett, who puts it on to the left boot for a little grubber in behind. It stays almost in the in-goal area. And Damian McKenzie, he waited patiently to see that ball go in. Was it taken back by McKenzie? I believe it was, and it will now be a 5-metre scrum for the Hurricanes. So they are in the perfect position on the field. Barrett went for the boot in behind, and McKenzie, he was waiting for that ball to come inside of that in-goal area so that he could force it dead and get a goal line dropout. But the ball bounced a little bit steeper than anticipated. Moore was right on it. So because of it now, scrum feed for the Hurricanes. And wow, I won some dollars today, Hammy. A woman blues one, says Spider-Meek. And there as well. Now TJ Perenara going to be putting the scrum feed in for the Canes. Of course, big opportunity for him, not just in the starting lineup, but for his overall season. That is a massive push there. The penalties awarded. That would have been close to the penalty try. Who you got winning? I did back the Hurricanes in my prediction, so I'm going to stick with them. And that is not based off the fact that they've had 80% possession at this stage of the contest. I think TJ Perenara is just asking the question, should that have been a penalty try? Okay, the infringement happened 5 metres out from the line, not on the line, says James Dolman. So that is why it's going to be the penalty rather than the penalty try. Where's Roygard Hemi? He is injured for the next about, I think it's, how many months? 6 months? I think he's out for. So yeah, he is not going to be available for the ABs during the July internationals. He is also possibly not going to be back for the November internationals for the All Blacks. Or he might be lucky. He might be all right by November. It's just how much game time he gets under his belt will determine how heavily they try and use him. Tyrell Lomax push me backs. Says Blues Nate Ball has gone in. Another big scrum from the Hurricanes. They have got another penalty advantage. Looks like the Chiefs are just jumping on that. Try and stop it from coming out. But that is already 2 penalties for the Hurricanes. 5 metres out from the line with scrum time. I think they'll go again here, because if they can get one more, that might even be a yellow card for the Chiefs front row. Another scrum. Says Pads ablaze. Looks like Ruben O'Neill is really struggling at the moment to be able to handle the front row. TJ, massive smile on his face at the moment. He's loving being back in the starting lineup. Of course, huge chance for him in this match. Scrum. 15 minutes in, try for the Hurricanes, says Florian. They are getting close. They are 5 metres out from the line here. Another penalty might lead to a penalty try if it is a scrum penalty. They will be able to throw their back line full steam ahead here, unless they want to go off the back for Braden Yossi, which wouldn't be a bad option. He has had a solid season so far. The ball is fed in. Looks much more solid, although now, once again, the Hurricanes have got a penalty advantage at scrum time. The ball is there. Yosei has a bit of a crack round the side there, dragged down 1 metre short of the Chiefs try line now. So that ball is stuck in there. Chiefs not letting it come out. Right, this has to be a warning now, I would think. Although the Hurricanes have to be careful telling James Dolman it should be a yellow, or else they might get themselves in a bit of trouble as well. Oh, hang on, we've got a plot twist. The try is good. Oh my, that's a big call. So the touch judge, we're going to have to see this again. The touch judge said he saw a grounding. James Dolman said, have you? And the TMO must have got involved and said, yeah, I can see a grounding too. So it's going to be the try here. Where is the grounding? Not there. Next phase there? Maybe that's the grounding. I think that's TJ Perenara who's got that try. Done the snipe round the side of the breakdown. And the overall try scoring tally, him and also Julian Savia, they are neck and neck at the moment. But yeah, that was quick. The fact that they overrode that, they said, yep, we got the grounding, said the touch judge. TMO said, yep, I can confirm grounding is good. And it's the try for the Hurricanes. What try really? Yeah, it was a bit confusing, but I like it, you know. The fact that it only took maybe 5 seconds to determine if it was a try or not, rather than spending 2 minutes looking at 50 replays. They got on with it. They said, yep, the try was good. You can award it. And that is exactly what the TMO should do. Be able to use his, I guess, power, per se, to be able to just go, yep, it was a try. We can get on with it now. It's going to be kicked off by the Hurricanes again. Nicely taken down here, about 30 metres out from their own line. So the score now sits as 10-0, ladies and gentlemen, in this contest. After the 18 minutes, and still the Chiefs have not visited the 22 of the Hurricanes. The question is, will their first visit be successful? And if so, they'll get straight back into the match. But Cortez Ratama gets it across to Ruben O'Neill. They are inside of their own half at the moment here. And back across, Damien McKenzie puts the ball up high. Waiting for this one to come down nicely, taken by Ruben Love. Now to McKenzie. Going to run this one back by the looks of it. Goes off to Sean Stevenson, bumps out a one tackle attempt to Billy Proctor. They're inside of Hurricanes territory now. Cortez Ratama moves it back across to Samasoni Takiaho. Bit of a rough pass to McKenzie off the bounce, but he's able to regather it. Now across again, Ratama going to Rameka Poyepi, starting to open up space. Here comes Cortez Ratama, tried to pass it on the outside, but it bounces back into his hands and he'll get the try for the Chiefs. A knock-on time, Chiefs, says Bhavani, but that is the try for the Hurricanes, for the Chiefs there. It was not a knock-on as Cortez Ratama, he tried to go for the pass. It was almost intercepted. But because of the fact that it was slapped back by the Hurricanes player, it was then play on, and Ratama knew that and makes the most of it. He tried to pass it across, slapped down by Ruben Love, and then was right place, right time, scores the try. Both nines jockeying for an AB spot. And they're both playing very well throughout the first 20 minutes. But first visit to the opposition 22 is successful for the Chiefs. McKenzie sitting at all-time most points for the Chiefs by quite a margin, sitting 1,154. And second is Stephen Donald with 850 or so. But that is now going to make the score 10 points to 7. The Hurricanes still with the lead by 3, but the gap has certainly got a lot smaller. I've seen you after a long time, says Coding. I assume we didn't see you last weekend then, if that is the case. 20 minutes in. Very even between these two sides, according to you, Hurricanes. Will they score another try? Says Florian. I mean, we've seen a knock-on from the Chiefs inside of their own 22, so they've been gifted the opportunity to be able to score one here, the Hurricanes. Looking for the offload, gets it away to TJ Perenara. Now Xavier Numia doesn't offload, still driving his legs, but there's a little bit of obstruction there, a bit of a shepherding run. Is it good for the comp to give the Canes a loss? Says Hanoi. I mean, of course, the sides that they're against will want them to have a loss, but I honestly don't see it as any different at this stage. Like, yes, it will mean that it's more competitive going further in the competition and the scoreboard will stay close, but I still think that the Canes will have a loss at some stage throughout their regular season. I think that was a sentence. I'm not sure. I think I messed it up a little bit. We covered some matches of the Black Cats and Pakistan T20 if having time. Says Tony, we are hoping to. Of course, New Zealand sending a slightly lackluster lineup does make it a bit unfortunate, but I think it's still going to be a competitive series, hopefully. Overthrown by a Samasoni Taukeiaho, knocked on by a Safa Moa. And now means that it is going to be the scrum feed for the Chiefs again. Good match, second half will be interesting. Says Blues Nate certainly will be. Win or loss, I go Chiefs here, Hammy. And yeah, Chiefs on the board, says Nobman Noise, says Ivan, and go my boys, the Mighty Chiefs, says Josh H. And this is what makes both sides so good. They can score at will any time, says Joe Webber. Yeah, it's the counter-attack, isn't it, from these sides that is just so impressive and also so unpredictable. TJ Perenara currently sitting 61 tries all time for Super Rugby Pacific, or just in general. Julian Savia, the only man ahead of him, on 62. Now, those two have been neck and neck, and I feel like that's not going to change for the rest of the season. That is another free kick. Cortez Ratima running away with the ball so that they can't take it quickly. I think TJ Perenara was giving him a bit of a serve there, saying, where you going with that, mate? We need that. Another scrum feed. Hurricanes with the put-in. Chiefs are really struggling at scrum time. I don't think we've seen their scrum, like, I don't want to use the word dominate, but we have not seen this Hurricanes scrum be tested, the Chiefs scrum be tested in the way that it currently is, if that makes sense. Like, we've seen penalties, we've seen free kicks, even off their own feed. We've seen the free kicks as well. Our ball is fed in by TJ Perenara. If he played for Moana, he could have had some tries. That is true. Would get himself up there on the list. Israel Folau. Now 22 metres out. Geordie Barrett hits it up off scrum time. TJ taking the record tonight. Says PD, nice spin from Braden Yorsi. Great acceleration from him as well. So his legs pumping. 10 metres out from the line. Huge shot from Sama Penny Finau. He's bent Cameron in half and he's forced the error. Fantastic hit from the big man there. So Braden Yorsi, I think he's got either ankle or knee here. And the reason for that, I believe, was that last little bit of leg pushing from him here. He tried to drive through and it's there. Yep, the ankle twisted awkwardly. And unfortunately, that means that for Braden Yorsi, could now be in a little bit of trouble here. Which would be a shame because, like I mentioned, he has had an absolutely fantastic season for the Hurricanes. He's also come off the bench a few times. So the fact that he's still up there in terms of running meters, defenders beaten, and all those type of stats just makes it that little bit more impressive, I think. Rebels versus the Highlanders, that is going to be taking place tonight. Now, we aren't actually covering that game on the channel. The reason being we can't guarantee that game is not going to take more time than before the next contest that we are covering, which will be Sharks versus Edinburgh. That is going to be for the Challenge Cup quarterfinal, and that will also be on the channel, ladies and gents. So if you are new, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Lomax and Numia strong up front, do have two big locks behind them, says Joe Webby. And yet the Hurricanes, I think, have the smaller forward pack, I believe. I think they're about a 7 kg disadvantage in this case. And then I think the combo for the Chiefs is the tallest locking duo. Oh, no, they'd need Josh Lord in there, and that would be the tallest locking duo, I believe, in the competition. Yossi is fine. He's a tough player. He actually plays for my club, says Abhad Zablaze. He's a very good player. Also plays for Manawatu in the Bunnings NPC. Thrown in by Asafa Amor. Looked like Natai Akoi was on ice skates there, having a bit of a slip and slide. And speaking of slipping and sliding with Justine Kirinaholo as well as his opposite number, Tino Nana Satoro. Both lose their footing. Ball is still available there for the Hurricanes. TJ Perenara, get inside ball to Peter Lakai. They've got space here. He's got Delaney with him, who's nailed again by Sama Penny Finau. He is showing physicality at 150% today. The ball, another advantage coming the way of the Canes, so they go quick hands out wide. Asafa Moa goes in. And that has to be the last warning for the Chiefs as well when it comes to their discipline, because that is about the 4th or 5th that they've given away 5 metres out from their line. Greetings, Shannon Hamish. I've got there, this Hurricanes outfit is hungry. 5 straight wins in a row. 11 number 6 wake up Canes are here, says Blues Nate. And also we've got their balls rest of their players. Don't they take the Challenge Cup serious? Says Annoy. Well, they're in the Champions Cup rather than the Challenge Cup. But also, like, when hearing about the conditions and the way that they had to travel for their last contest up against Leinster, like, there's a part of me that doesn't really blame them. Because, like, yeah, they had some pretty rough travel times and rough flights to get to that game up against Leinster. So they've decided, nah, we're going to go a little bit lighter. This looks like a serious injury, though, here for one of the Chiefs players, I believe it is, who has stayed down. They are just checking on his neck, making sure he's going to be all right. But James Dolman, it looks like we're getting a TMO decision here. Stretcher is on the field. And the cart as well, so they will be taking him off. This is checking for foul play. Now, if this is foul play by the Hurricanes, this will cancel out their try. And you'd have to say whoever did it would look like a right silly goose if he's got his side. Oh no, they're checking the last pass. Okay, well that's less serious than I thought it was. They just want to see whether or not Brad Shields has passed this ball forward. And yeah, it's hit his fingers, I believe, there. Yep, little tap forward from Brad Shields. That's going to be no try, but it's not for foul play, ladies and gentlemen, which is good news because foul play is not fun. Going to be no try, though. Lost it. They're playing advantage anyway, so this could still be a yellow card. Ref want to his hairlines, says Blues Nate. They are just checking on that Chiefs player again here, though, making sure he's going to be all right. Oh, that's Sean Stevenson going off the field. That is a big hit, and you hope it's nothing too serious for that man. He's at least back on his feet, which is a bonus. Right. So it's going to be no try. They were playing under penalty advantage. Amoni Narawa clearly through the side of the breakdown, so he gets yellow carded. It's not a penalty try because they're still 5 metres out from the line where he went in the side and infringed. Oh, yeah, no, I can understand why he didn't get a serious thing against him there. And then that was the shot from Isaiah Walker-Leawiri that pretty much knocked Sean Stevenson silly. A lot just happened in that last little moment, ladies and gentlemen, but I think we've caught up. We've worked out what's going on. But 27 and a half minutes in, the Chiefs lost 2 players there, one to an HIA and one to a yellow card. Yellow card Amoni Narawa, HIA Sean Stevenson, so Josh Ioane is now on the field. Come on, Amy, that's foul. Says Spider Mick. I mean, I thought that the Isaiah Walker-Leawiri's clean out on Sean Stevenson wasn't great. But they checked it and they said it's completely fine. But, of course, if he's taken a head knock, then at some stage, something's connected with his head, has it not? But now, ball's going in. Hurricanes once again looking to get themselves that penalty advantage, and they've got it. Now, the Chiefs were already on last warning. Braden Yossi goes through, scores the try. That's probably the only thing saving a yellow card there, is the fact that he was able to score it. A great try for Braden Yossi. That is his first of the season, believe it or not. He's been everywhere, but that is the first time that he's been able to cross the try line. Yeah, interesting. Good power shown by Braden Yorsi. I was just checking the odds. The Hurricanes are now favourites, ladies and gentlemen, after the way that they've been able to start. Deserves a try. I agree. I think he's been absolutely sensational throughout the season. And excellent commentary. Thank you. You sound a lot better. Says Moa Hunters. Yeah, we're recovering. I'm still not at 100% as of yet. Like I said yesterday, I was about 70-ish. Like I'm probably 75 today. So we're getting there. But we have got plenty more coming up later on tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, back to back to back. We're going to be streaming for later on. Next stream that we've got is at 11:30 though. And that kick is going to go over from Brett Cameron. The plan is to do the Sharks versus Edinburgh Challenge Cup quarterfinal. That is taking place at 11:30, but we're starting at 11:20 so that we can also inform you guys of what's happening in the final moments of Highlanders versus Rebels. Which side the ref on here, Kiwi lads? Hard against the Chiefs, says Spider-Mick. I mean, the Chiefs scrum, though, has been absolutely dominated. I think Dolman's just explaining that to Luke Jacobson. Okay, Dolman, he's just said that he saw the replay and they did stand up under pressure as well. So, yeah, it's tricky for them because they're in that scenario of you give any more scrum penalties, someone's going to the bin. And I think it would be Ruben O'Neill out of the front row. But the score after 29 minutes, now sitting 17 points to 7, just the one visit to the opposition 22 for the Chiefs. And they did successfully score the try with Cortez Ratima. Nicely taken by Josh Ioane. It's there for Ratima now. Going back across to the right-hand side. Natua Akui. Dragged down. Now back into the pocket to Damien McKenzie, who has been very quiet throughout this contest. I don't think we've seen the best of him yet in this game. A nice spin from Ruben Love. Hurricanes now 38 metres from their line. Back into the pocket to Brett Cameron. Yikes, says Spider-Mick. And so does the European club's domestic comps still play normally during these extra international club comps? They do not know. So they have bye weeks normally. I think the only one that didn't have a bye week a while ago was the top 14. I think they still had around, but everyone else does have, like there's no URC this weekend because of the Champions and Challenge Cup, whereas it comes back next week back into the URC. So yeah, it's a little bit weird, I guess, getting used to it, but yeah, it's pretty much each time that there's a Champions or Challenge Cup week, they have a bye week in the URC. Now kicked him out from Matina Nanasatoro. Almost kicked it out on the full, but it does bounce in the field of play. Now going to be the line out here for the Hurricanes, who have had the much better first half. Although, you can also argue, at the end of the day, the way that it sits currently, going into halftime, I don't think the Chiefs would be hugely disappointed with the way that this one sits. Wakaliawiri knock on there at line-out time. Chiefs could go into halftime only down by a few points here. I left the TV, in-laws killed it, thanks. Says yikes, and O'Cool says annoy. But yeah, it's good that we don't have overlaps in terms of you don't have to decide whether you want to watch the URC or the Champions Cup. It's kind of nice that it's different. But should mention both Challenge and Champions Cup will both be shown on Sky, ladies and gentlemen. First game, like I mentioned, starting at 11:30 tonight, the Sharks versus Edinburgh. Actually a rematch of a game that we saw not too long ago in the URC. Sharks, they've got the likes of Ebenezer, a few other Springboks in there. Edinburgh, Duan van der Merwe, going to be hoping to get a big win here. But it's in South Africa, so good chance for the Sharks to head on forward. Who's in the bin? It was Imoni Narawa. And La Rochelle versus Leinster. We are also covering that game on the channel. Now, nice inside ball from Damien McKenzie, Athena Nanasatoro, tackled by Geordie Barrett. Now Ratima going across into the midfield for Setiti. The pass to Samasoni Tolkiaho. Another 3.5 minutes remaining of this yellow card for the Chiefs. They also don't have John Stevenson. Big shot from DJ Perenara on Cortez Ratima, almost got the turnover. And howdy, brother, what a game the Aupiki final was, bro. Come back to win. That one in the Bloomin' Warriors versus Sky Chickens was a draw after extra time, says Bear Flower. Yeah, we've had some good games already today. I feel like this game, if we see more of the Chiefs in the second half, this will have potential of being a great game as well. Number 7 for the Canes is pretty good, yeah. Peter Lakai, recently in the under-20s New Zealand squad, and he has got a very bright future, that is for sure. He's filled in for for Artie Savia last year, and you almost couldn't tell that Savia wasn't playing. Like, he's a really big talent in that loose forward trio. And to be fair, Braden, you see the man that they're showing, he is also one for the future. And what a crowd tonight, eh? Says Mr. Orland. Yeah, looks like it's a very good attendance for this game. Looks like joining ruck incorrectly is the penalty call from James Dolman. Naholo doing great? Nah, he's been very quiet in this game. I think I've seen him touch the ball once or twice, and one of those 2 times he slipped over. But he's done a couple passes. Big shot from TJ Perenara. Great timing. Then in the end, the Hurricanes end up giving away that penalty, joining ruck incorrectly. Which ruck? Okay, that must not have been, it might have been for not rolling away, because that didn't look like there was anything bad in terms of not joining ruck properly. Watching from Vanuatu again, great commentary, Amish. Says Greg Barrow, welcome in, mate. Hope you have been keeping well. And Bulls B team is strong enough to beat any side in Europe, no pushover side. Says Outlaw, I wouldn't say any side. Like, don't get me wrong, the Bulls B team, as you've called it, like, they're still strong. But, you know, if they're versing the A side overseas, like, they will still probably get beaten. It depends, though. Like, I think they've got a really good chance up against the Northampton Saints. That kick from McKenzie has gone over for the Chiefs, so that will add an extra 3 to their score. Now making it 17 points to 10. And time remaining for the guy in the bin. 1 minute 30 still left on the clock. That's going to be kicked off by Geordie Barrett deep into the 22. Looks like Joshua there. We'll get a big hoof downfield. Does go into touch. That's a good clearing kick as well. The ball boy was strategically placed. I didn't recognise many Bulls B team names. So yeah, it's annoying. I mean, they've still got some great players. Like that backline, Sebastian de Klerk alongside, I think it's going to be Devin Williams out on the wings. Like both of those guys have potential to do well. TJ Perenara, a bit of a fumble there, but it does still stay on the side of the Hurricanes. That 9-10 combo though, Zach Berger, Chris Smith, is going to be a big test for them. Where's Cody Taylor? I believe he's playing in Japan at the moment, if I'm correct. And Chiefs come back, Mana, says Ivor in there. And any expectations of drop goals for this game? I don't think so. Unless we're like tied at the end, we might see an attempt. But other than that, I think it's going to be tries and the penalties that determine this game. We're all good, bloody hot here. And go the Canes, says Greg. Going to be now the line out for the Chiefs. We talked about that dominance in the first 20 or so minutes for the Hurricanes. But if the Chiefs score now with a man disadvantage, they will go into halftime more than likely 17-17, which you'd have to argue means that as much as the Hurricanes did well in that first half, they didn't make the most of it. Taukiaho throwing it in. It's going to be knocked. I believe that was knocked on by the Chiefs. No, it's still going to be on the side of the Chiefs. Said it's going to be all right. Some of Benny Finn now already putting in some big hits throughout this game. Some massive shots coming in from that man, Cody Taylor, to lead the haka for the ABs. Says Blues Nate. Could be an option if he is available. That's a knock on there now from the Chiefs. No, Dolman says it's gone backwards as well. Field's been flipped. Obviously, they're going a different way than they normally would. Cortez Aratama now going short side. Rush defence there from Proctor and Kininaholo on the verge of being offside. Aratama again, though, goes off to Satiti, and there is now going to be the penalty advantage. They'll go back for offside there. But that was not actually against Kininaholo or Billy Proctor. Instead, it was actually Isaiah Walker-Leowiri. Looks like they are going to take on another 3 points here, the Chiefs. Close that gap just that little bit more. And great to see TJ back in the starting lineup, says Greg. And there's Ivan take the 3, says Ivan, and that is exactly what they have decided to do. Oh, that's a head knock. Safamoa hitting Satiti right on the dome of his head, or right on the crown of his head, I should say. But because he was ducking down, it's not a card apparently. I don't really know what they do with some of the rules. I just say words fast. That's about all I do. Damian McKenzie now line up this kick. And he's got it. And hopefully the Chiefs pull it in. But geez, the Canes look dangerous at home ground. The windy or Wellington wind must be helping them a bit. And we need a World Club League. I love to see the Canes take on Saracens or the Quins and Twickenham. Says Kyle. I mean, they are going to have one. It's just going to be in about 2028. I think is the earliest that we're going to see it. Looks like a card, says Annoy. Yeah, so I'm curious to know why in that case it's not a card, whereas sometimes like it is. Is it because his head was down? Like, is that the difference? Like, I would have thought getting knocked on the top of your head is still not ideal. But, yeah, I don't really know. Now, here comes Damian McKenzie. Passes it off. Big shot coming in from Asafa Amoa again there. Now, another run. This time, Cortez Aratama. And Chase Mana cheering from Vanuatu. Could be an upset here. Geez, your scoreboard is slower than a snail. Says, no, mum, yeah, it is taking its time to upgrade. Or update today, isn't it? That one's going to be kicked in a touch off the grubber from the Chiefs. Just getting it slightly wrong, but they have had a lot more possession in the last little while, which has been hugely beneficial. This looks like Ramika Poihipi has stayed down. We just heard the halftime siren, but we've still got 30 seconds according to this clock. And we're also tackling club rugby is really bad. I can't tackle over the chest height. Even if other player ducks or slips, you get pulled up for it. Oh, it must have heard me finally caught up. And hello from Cape Town, South Africa, says Ricky. Welcome in, mate. Of course, we are going to be covering a couple South African games later on tonight. Next one that we are doing is in about 3 hours' time, or a little bit over 3 hours. That is going to be the matchup taking place between the Sharks and Edinburgh. And then alongside that, we've also got the game between the Bulls and the Northampton Saints taking place tomorrow for New Zealand time, but at about, I think that is 7 p.m. for you guys in South Africa, or at least somewhere around there. And Chiefs staying composed. TJ leading a broken D. Says, Mr. Allin, are you watching UFC 300? I actually probably won't, to be honest. Like it's a big card and all, but I just don't think it's not a card that full on grabs my interest. So I'll probably just watch the replay of it, like when it's up on the UFC app in about a month's time. But I'll probably, I'll keep an eye on who's winning, but I don't think I'll buy the pay-per-view, if that makes sense. Now running forward here, or at least mauling forward for the Hurricanes. We are at halftime, so as soon as there is a stoppage, does mean that we will be stopping for the halftime break. They've been told to use it once, currently on the halfway line. Now loose, picked up. No, the penalty does go the way of the Hurricanes. Chiefs staying composed, but TJ leading at broken D. In 2028, Blues should be ready to claim that cup knot. Says Blues Nate. Yeah, it's quite a while that we have to wait, and it also overlaps, I believe, with the international season, which means that the Club World Cup sides won't actually be as good as they could be, if that makes sense. So, we're going to see struggling club sides actually do well because they won't have international players out of their teams. And Blues might win this year's Super. Says yikes. A great kick from Geordie. Barrett gets it right down towards the corner. And I going to sleep. Oh, Hill going to sleep, Alex. Says Kyle. I think you're still sleeping, mate. Says Kyle Ferreira there. Although someone earlier on, Hill going to sleep, Alex says it. Yeah, so people are saying that Alex is going to get defeated. Oh no, he's saying that Alex is going to win, sorry. It's a one each way, isn't it? Now slapped away by Notoa Koi. Back across here, the Chiefs will kick this one into touch. McKenzie takes no risks. Doesn't want to deal with that one. And it means now at half-time, the match is sitting at 17 points to 13. And Drew Hamish and Yikes are doubtful, says Ivan, and go the Canes. And come on, the Chiefs, says Moa Hunters in there as well. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting second half. I feel like both of these sides have shown at times that they are capable of winning this match. Hurricanes probably still slight favourite, I would say, but maybe not by as much as we think they would be. And come on, the Chiefs We will get some stats to do with this half of rugby, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, the next game that is going to be taking place is the Highlanders versus the Rebels. That is in Australia. We are not covering that game, though, as we are going to be covering the game between the Sharks and Edinburgh. That is kicking off a little bit later on for the Challenge Cup. Just looking through stats for this one. We've seen some very close games for this round already. Moana Pacifica pulling off the upset. Waratahs pulling off their upset. The Chiefs are considered as underdogs in this game, so it would still be an upset per se if they were able to get themselves the victory. But of course, not so much of an upset as those other two. Hell wins in round 1 and 2. If it goes longer, Alex will win. Says Hanoi there. As we got the Canes all the way, says Greg Barron. I never know, bro. I know that if the Satyrs make the final, they will win. Blues have a good chance against the Canes, and Blues struggle against Canes and the Brumbies at the moment. Says Blues Nate. And looking through at some of these stats for this first half, we've seen a lot more running meters for the Hurricanes. We've also seen more possession. It says 59% in their favour, and we've seen 7 penalties conceded by the Chiefs, including 1 yellow card that they did receive earlier on. And the fixture, but I think that the more telling stat at the moment would be those 12 missed tackles from the Chiefs as well, because if the Hurricanes can start breaking that line, make their way through, that is where they will be at their most dangerous. Does anyone here remember when we used to watch Super 12? Says Kyle, the good old days, before the Super 14. A little while ago. How long was it since the Super 12? We're going to do a quick Google. Super 12 last season. The Super 12 last season was in 2005, I believe. Was the last time that we did see a Super 12 competition. And then the Super 14, I believe that was, when was that? Super 14, I think about 2010 maybe, was the last time we had 14 teams. Actually, it might have been a little bit later than that, in fact. And big props and respects for Fern Cotta, Blues coach, also ex-Fiji coach. Certainly gave Ian Foster ABs a good hiding in 2021. Says Blues Nate. I think Crusaders will have to win will have to win all their games to even get in the top 8, says Nov Mum. Will Stevenson be back? I don't believe for this one. We have got to waste the time. No one like you, says Celesimo in there as well. Wow, I'm so hurt, Celesimo. I might just cry myself to sleep. Satyrs versus Force next week for the wooden spoon battle. Says Annoy, they're not that far off though. Like, that's the thing. Crusaders are sitting here, right? They're on 7 points. All of these teams, I believe, play, I think it's 13 or 14 regular season games. So theoretically, for the Crusaders, right, they've got next week up against the Force, which I think they should win. They've then got the Rebels, which they should win. The Reds, which they should win. Then they've got the Highlanders, the Brumbies, the Blues, and Moana Pacifica. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 or 7 games left for the Crusaders. Theoretically, that can give them 35 points. And you go right up kind of around their top 4. Of course, that determines or kind of is impacted by what the other sides in the competition do. And who are you? Says Pizza Place. And therefore, Salesimo. And there as well, and we'll play for the wooden spoon, of course. And also, Simo is in Upper Hut. A waste of time. Well, I know I like you, Salah Sausage, says Marco there. And also, we have I think the Crusaders have to win all their remaining games to even get in the top 8. And also, we have got there about Sean Stevenson. He will not be back, though, for the rest of this game. They are just showing some of the highlights. So the try from Cortez Ratama, that is the lone try that we have seen for the Chiefs in this contest. And TJ Perenara scoring one of the tries for the Hurricanes, the other being scored by Braden Yossi. Hey, you're right. They only have to make top 8 or the 8th spot and can be in trouble in the finals. Says Annoy. And that's what I've said about the Crusaders the whole way through. Like, they're a great side and they're struggling this year, which of course has been great for everyone else. But if they're in that top 5, or the top 8, you don't want to face them because they could actually knock out one of the biggest favourites in the competition. Imagine that. The Hurricanes go the whole regular season undefeated. They go into the quarterfinals where they play the 8th ranked Crusaders and then lose. That would be like something that the Crusaders have done time and time again that has annoyed people time and time again, but it is not unlikely that something like that could end up happening, which is, it's a bit rough, but it is just the reality of the competition. Who received the yellow card was Amoni Narua. He will now be back out on the field. Salasimo, the sausage muncher, says Marco there. Celia Sosisi says JSP. And he ate mine, says yikes. And Salah squeezed my sausage. Ow. Says Blue Snake. He's getting roasted, as they would say. I don't like that word. Roasted doesn't sound cool when I say it. It doesn't sound bad when some people say it, but when I say it, it just doesn't sound right. They were mentally crushing for the Canes, says Hanoi. It would be. And the thing is, it could happen. Chiefs number 1. Blues number 1. Facing the Crusaders in the quarterfinal, I would not want to face them. You'd much rather face, if the Rebels make the top 8, the Force, Moana Pacifica, Fiji and Draw if you're at home. Got to remember their record at home for the Draw is impeccable, but their record away from home is where they really do struggle. So it's a hard one. It's a tough competition. You got to make sure you're winning all the way through. Just showing here some of the highlights from that first half. Hurricanes have scored the 2 tries of TJ Perenara as well as Braden Yorsi. I love you, Simo. Says yikes in there as well. And Fiji and Draw is one of the best at home. Exactly. But they would have to be in the top 4 to be able to get the deleted as comment, I think. Sadasimo, the sausage muncher, says unless one of the moderators may have taken it away. That could have been another option as well, but you got a feel for the man. He just came in, decided he wanted to fire some shots, and instead had a lot more fired at him than he fired. It's a rough world out there. Plug in some devices as well while I'm at it. The iPad's on charge so that I can get plenty of info for that next game. Of course, Sharks versus Edinburgh is the next game that we are going to be covering. I put 15 on the Canes for when I get $32.25. Says Max. Well, make sure you gamble responsibly is all I'm going to say there, because we're seeing people lose plenty of money throughout the Super Rugby Pacific season. Yeah, I can't find the comment. And we have to wonder if the Draw can replace their Lamani and suspended hooker with good players. Says annoying. Hello, says Christian there. And imagine the Springboks playing against PG in Fiji. It would be awesome. And that's the thing. That's probably a match, to be honest, that we're probably not going to get to see take place in a very long time in terms of in Fiji. But if it did, I think they'd get a good turnout. They'd get a good turnout no matter who they play in Fiji, to be fair. Do you use any Apple gadgets or you use Android? I have Apple devices, mainly. Just because I find them easier, They're more expensive, which sucks. That's why I'm still rocking an iPhone 6S, one of the old school ones. But eventually I'll get a new phone, hopefully. My cousin is playing for the Chiefs. Who's your cousin, JSP? Do let us know. Ong Buck Drawer. Says Ivan there. In solid game. Says Mr. All In. Also with the box, with wilt in the Fiji heat and humidity. I don't know, because it gets pretty hot in South Africa, depending on the time of year as well. That is why they normally have water breaks during their URC games, because the players do get so hot. But it depends on the time of year, I think, would determine how heavily that heat kind of hits them. Bangkok Glove Sausage Happy Time, a long time special, 50 baht, says Blues Nate. This is why rugby is not a helping little country's game. All Blacks have only played in the islands a few times. We have next to them, Paul on Sansa says yikes. Yeah, that's the thing. They take the game up against Fiji to USA. And Is it ideal? Not really. I would like to think, though, that by doing so, Fiji will actually make more money than if they played at home. Of course, it's not going to get those fans to the game because they're not going to be in the USA. But I think that they would get more substantially, I guess, like compensated for playing it in the USA. I like you, lads. I'm very glad to be here. I usually go to Bondi Junction Shopping Centre on Saturday afternoon. Didn't go today, thank God. There's Glenwoods. And also we have got there very good, or very soon Fiji will join Rugby Championship. There's Mr. Bravestone. It's all about money, says Junior Ryder. It is, like, at the end of the day, like, it is a shame. But at the same time, they do have to, like, try and make as much money as they can, pretty much. And it's, you know, it's just a tricky one. And we have got there Wallace Satiti says a JSP, yikes, only played in Samoa once, I think. I should play there way more. I have to go because I have to go out for dinner, but I'll be here at the 11:20 game. And of course, that is going to be the matchup taking place between the Sharks and Edinburgh. Be sure to tune in for that one, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, says Joanne. Welcome in. If you are keeping well, Kapani is in the chat with a little emoji in there as well. The second half of this contest is just around the corner. I'm curious to see who is going to step up throughout this second half. We've already seen a couple changes having to be made, one of which being Joshuani on the field. That is for Sean Stevenson. Sharks game should be good, says Blues Nate. Still not a fan of the top 8 in Super Rugby, says Junior Ryder. It does seem a little bit too high, like in terms of, like, you could, like, it was actually mentioned on the podcast when me and Tony did do the rugby recap. We said, like, you can be a side that's lost more games than you've won, and you can still make it through to the finals on the technicality. And Wallace Satiti is the cousin for JSP. And Samoa Rugby is corrupt thanks to a dabbling in rugby, leeching all their money. Outgiven by World Rugby. And High says Frozen Slim Gamer. Welcome in, mate. You are also doing very well. But do let me know your score predictions for the second half, ladies and gents. This has felt like a long halftime break. A little bit longer than we are used to and up to, says Frozen Slim Gamer. Well, we are waiting for the second half to get underway, where we might see a bit more of a comeback coming from the Chiefs, to be honest, only because that first half, they didn't play their best half, and they still are only 4 points down. Why didn't you go today? Says Hanoi. And also we have got there True, and also 52-20. The last thing before I go, what do you do before the stream? Set them up. Like as in like just before? Or like just in general? Hey, it's stupid. If they're rewarding, or it's like they're rewarding the mediocre teams, it should be top 6. Says Junior Ryder. It's all about money, all right. Remember 2003 World Cup, New Zealand had to co-host the tournament with Aussie, as we didn't have the stadiums to cater for the games. Says Joe Webby. But yeah, like even a top 5, you know, top ranked side gets a bye. Or if it's 6 top 2 sides get a bye, and then you go into the semi-finals, but everyone else has already had those playoff games for us, or beforehand, which podcast, which Tony says Joseph, so it was the Rugby Recap podcast, and myself and Distracted Sports, that Tony. We did an episode about 2 or 3 weeks ago. We talked about a heap of random stuff. I had to censor a lot of things that came in on it. And Conrad Smith, aka C Rad, is watching the game. And R22222 says Carmen. And there is Anai Hamish. Hey, how are you feeling today? Or are you feeling okay? Your voice sounds a little different than usual, bro, says Dave. I am still sick from last weekend. Like, we're almost better. We're about 75% or somewhere around there. But hopefully we get a bit better by the end of the weekend. We've only actually got streams today and tomorrow morning. Like, we've got 3 more games that we are covering on the channel, and then that is it for the weekend. We have got there, Men in Power, I'm a bad person. Says Yikes. I'll check that out. Says Joseph, and come on the Mighty Canes, get in together. Or get it together, we got this. So no changes for the Hurricanes for the second half in their starting lineup. Chiefs, of course, having to make that change when we saw Sean Stevenson make his way from the field. And also Moni Nuttall is back out on the field after his yellow card. Billy Proctor has dropped that ball cold at the start of the half, and it means the Chiefs are in a prime position to be able to take a lead here if they can break through and get themselves the try. Cortez Aratama gets it away to Satiti. The advantage is over for the knock-on. That was quite a quick one. Now McKenzie thought about passing it out wide, shut down by Brad Shields, who wrestles him to his back. Now Aratama again. Another advantage coming against the Hurricanes, this time for offside. And they'll go back for the penalty. And I was like, we'll get how much is Sky Sports subscription? It's normally $40 a month, I believe. Maybe even $50 now. If I'm correct. Like, it's a bit expensive, but the amount of sport that you get, like, it kind of isn't too bad if you really think about it in terms of the fact that you get Super Rugby, you get NRL, you get international games, you get cricket, you get hockey, basketball, tennis, whatever you like, watching golf. Masters is on at the moment. I actually did an update of the Masters yesterday. I learnt that Bryson DeChambeau was in the lead. So while we're at it, we're going to see whether or not he's in the lead now. But the Chiefs have got themselves a 5-metre line out here. He's still in the lead, Bryson DeChambeau. On -6. $50 a month. There's a rip-off, $600 a year. So here's a razor. Yeah, it is expensive compared to some things. But, like, if you love your sport, it kind of works out as quite cheap. If you consider watching one game of rugby, if you said, let's say, $2 to watch a game of rugby, right? And then you consider the likes of the UFC, like, that's $40, I believe, for one about 3-hour card. 5 fights in the UFC cost you $30. 30 games of rugby plus any other sport you want to watch costs you double, but you get a lot more hours, if that makes sense, compared to something like the UFC. And you know how to watch the Champions Cup in Aussie? I think it's tricky because I don't think it's on Stan and I'm not sure if it's on KO. I would have a Google, though, just to see what you can find. They're playing a little bit of High School Musical at the ground. I know that because I have an older sister. How to watch in Australia is actually one of the most common things that are searched because they don't have an obvious way, I don't think. But in Australia, it's on Rugby Pass. There you go. Rugby Pass is your option. I left a comment on Rugby Itch's channel saying he must be held accountable for saying Moana might get 50 points put on them again. To be fair, I also said that. I said that they would lose by 40 if they didn't get going. So, like, he is just as much to blame as me in that case. And he actually, I think he said that it was going to be a close game. I think. So I was actually the one who said it badly, Razor, not him. Some random, I went berserk. And I was like, let's go Wellington Phoenix, Sears Blues, no, damn, I haven't watched the news today. Next week, Braniosi will be an AB soon, says JSP. Kick downfield, though, from the Hurricanes inside of their own 22. About 20 metres out, the Chiefs have now got themselves the line-out chance. Second half underway, says Ivan, it certainly is. We are 3 minutes, and we've had quite a few stoppages so far, you know, line-outs, penalties, etc. Yeah, as you said it, not Rugby Itch. Yeah, so he probably, he didn't say too much wrong. Now, throwing that one in, Samasoni Taukiaho, sell the dummy from Cortez Aratama, trying to snipe his way through, and also trying to get that knee down. It's been bundled almost into touch, but it's still there available for George Dyer. Chiefs have not given away a scrum penalty in quite some time, which is good news for them. They looked like they were close to getting a penalty earlier on, and maybe even a yellow card with it. Man, it started 10 minutes ago. Weed is great. Says yikes. Cortez Aratama going off to Satiti. I watched game, turn off commentary and listen to you. Says Pete D there. Bounce pass. Going to a Tinen and a Satoro. Getting the holo, getting straight into that breakdown, but can't get the ball back. Up to 7 phases now for the Chiefs. Natoa Koi. 20 metres out. Ratama. Back across to Tupovai. They have not given up as of yet. The Chiefs, that's a rough inside ball. Almost ends up hitting James Dolman, which I think slowed it down enough for the Chiefs to be able to get that ball back. Just got back here, yikes. And Rugby Pass, thanks so much, says Hanoi. And I think Rugby Pass is free, is it, Hanoi, or does it cost money? Do let me know. Because hopefully if it's free, like, that is ideal for you guys in Australia. And Canes and the Phoenix are making us Wellingtonians proud this year. Hopefully they continue on. Go all the way, says Junior Ryder. Ball is there again for the Chiefs. They are now 5 metres out from the line. And come on, the Chiefs, says Ivan. 5 metres from the try line. Creeping closer and closer. Looks like Taukiaho going to go for it again. There are too many quality loose forwards at the moment. Jacobson, Lakai, Yossi, Satiti, Harmon, Karifi, Finnell, Christie, Blackadder, Grace, etc. Says Razor. And I'm glad you can make it back. Says Yikes. Ball, is it there? Yeah, it is still there for the Chiefs. They're close to held up now. Yes, they are. But they'll go back for the original penalty advantage. I think Amor is looking much better than Taukiaho this year. Says Razor, very, very beautiful game. Says Mr. All-In. It's going to be the penalty against Tyrell Lomax. Seems to be whoever's going from right to left is not going too well. How cold is it in my man? It's not too bad. 10 degrees. Like, that's pretty timid. I would say, like, I'm getting a sweat up at the moment. That's because the fire's going. And I got too many. Oh. Yeah, Natai Akoi was running through. Gets bodied by Tyrell Lomax. Chance here for the Chiefs to make it only 1 points difference between these two sides. The next game, ladies and gentlemen, that we are covering will be taking place at 11:30. We are starting at 11:20, so in about 3 hours' time. Anatai Akoi. I got Akoi. Says the Marco Warriors and the Breakers based in Auckland, Wellington, and Phoenix in Wellington. Sorry, the Hurricanes in Phoenix based in Wellington, but that kick has gone over, now making the score 16 points to 17. Close game at the moment between these two sides, and I think this has really shown that the Chiefs, even though that first 25 minutes they had nothing, 20% possession, whole heap of penalties against them, but they still stayed in this game. And Sky's good, but can't afford it at the moment. You are so good. Like the old days, listen to RSA AB's games on the radio in the middle of the night. Masters Radio for the golf, amazing. Says Moa Hunters in there as well. I actually want to watch a bit of the golf. I'm hoping to catch up on it over the last the next day or two. Probably after all of the rugby is finished. Don't forget the Wellington Orcas. Come on, boys, discipline, take a deep breath. Kick them iron from the Chiefs, looking for the 50-22. Josh Morby cleans it up. Wrestled, or in fact, he just loses his footing. Doesn't really get touched by the Chiefs. I didn't hear you say, no, they passed the ball. Says Ivan, and good evening, Hamish. Says Marnus, welcome in, and Razor Robinson, Taukiaho. It's been a shade disappointing after starting his rugby. That's going to be stolen by the Chiefs. 5 metres out from the line here. Now firing it out the back line. McKenzie gets a low pass away to Atenai Nana Satoro. Defence from the Hurricanes, but if they give away another penalty advantage, they will more than likely end up with a man in the bin, just like we saw for the Chiefs in the first half for being offside. Now Ratama going up to Samasoni Taukiaho. FFS says Razor Robinson. Yeah, just little mistakes from the Hurricanes, costing them big time here. 3 metres out. George Dyer, flat ball to Aiden Ross. Akoi going to play a half. He's got some Penny Finn now with him, but he gives it off to Taukiaho. Hurricanes have to stay behind their hindmost foot. Ratama off to McKenzie. Flat ball off to Ioane. One more on the outside to Atini. Or in fact, it's going to be a Moni Narawa who got himself the try. And the Chiefs take the lead for the first time in this contest now. Hurricanes territory goes all the way up to the East Coast, Poverty Bay, Hawke's Bay, Whanganui, Manawatu, Horowhenua Kapiti, Wairarapa Bush, and Wellington Canes country. Says JSB in great position, which gets results. Says Mr. All-In, and all started from a drop ball from Proctor. Been all Chiefs since, says Joe Webby. That is true. The first play of the half. And all possession going the way of the Chiefs for the second half. Similar to what we saw for the Hurricanes in the first. It's been a game of two halves at the moment. And Amoni Narawa gives the lead now for the Chiefs. I think Rugby Pass is free, just have to sign up. Perfect. Will be a lot of great rugby. Luddershall versus Leinster, I think, is the one that a lot of people are looking at. And come on, boys, what is going on last 20 minutes? The Canes went to sleep. Now lining up this kick. And it has gone over for Damian McKenzie. Makes the score now 23 points to 17. The lead for that Chiefs. Okay, still a long way to go. Says Novum. And just out of curiosity, we're going to look at the odds here. Like I mentioned, the Hurricanes came in as underdogs for this contest. Are we now starting to see why? You never know. Kickoff. On high. Hurricanes, $3.40 underdogs now. This is one game I hate. The Canes to lose, says JSB. Gulp, 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 says a Fluffy there. One more for the Chiefs. Stephen Flanders on the field for Brad Niosi. Duplessis Karifi making his way out onto the field. That is for Brad Shields. So the Hurricanes have decided they need to change something, and they haven't got the line out right again. Here comes Cortez Ratama flying down the wing. Josh Morby stops him. About 10 metres out from the line, though. Here come the Chiefs again. Good low tackle made by DJ Perenara. The turnover was almost there for Isaiah Walker Leo Wiri. Now kicked him behind from Atena Nanasatoro. Puts in the chip, but it's cleaned up by Kenny Naolo, who was inside of his in-goal area, but now starts to drive out to 5 metres from the line. Now short side, Perenara goes off to Devin Flanders. That will be his first carry since making his way onto the field for Braden Iorsi. In front of a huge home crowd. Says Razor Robinson, a man that is that turbo magic when the groove is on. Says Mr. Orland, TJ Perenara. Now kicking this one towards the touchline, and that is a fantastic kick. Relieving some pressure, but it is not all done and dusted yet. Sama Penifino, he was sweating on that intercept. Where is the plane now? Says Manus, they are going to be about 32 metres out from the line now, and Samasoni Taokiaho throws it in, claimed by the Hurricanes. Line out time has been a bit 50-50 throughout this game. Brett Cameron kicks it downfield, bit of an aimless one. Straight to Amoni Narawa, was trying to play the territory game, but now Narawa up to the halfway line, smashed by Asafa Moore. And it looks like the Hurricanes, yes, they will get the penalty there. Cortez leaving TJ in the dirt. Says Razor Robinson, bookmakers licking their lips, but to make money. Says gets an L, and why couldn't Sky Open just catch up during halftime? Says Spinks. Also, we've got there with the Chiefs top of the table, or the Chiefs top the table if they win this game with a bonus point. They've got a good chance. But it depends on whether or not the Hurricanes also get a bonus point. Because if the Hurricanes can keep it within 7, as you can see, they'd be very close. The Chiefs would get 5, that would make them up to 28, but the Hurricanes would also get 1 point to put them on 28. And that would actually mean that the Blues, they would be on the same game, so they'd be very close. Points differential would go the way of the Blues, but they'd be on 1 point less than the other sides. So we still have a game between the Rebels and the Highlanders that is to take place. In fact, this is the current table. My apologies. The Highlanders actually a little bit lower ranked overall. The Hurricanes have got this ball now 15 metres out from the line. Caleb Delaney hits it straight at Taukiaho. Now, Xavier Numia hasn't had a huge amount of carries throughout this game. That's why. Well, that's what we pay Karefi for. Good stuff, young man. Says Razor Robinson, and both hookers can't throw shame. As other than that, they're both good hookers, says Joe Webby. We play on. Hurricanes losing about 30 or so metres with their handling error. And the counter right from the Chiefs is good. Kenny Naholo takes it back. He says, no, we're not doing that. It's our ball. And let's go to Landers, says Blues Nate. And thanks, says Stanley. Now Flanders goes off to Ruben Love. He's hit hard in that tackle from Atena Nanasatoro with the cheap shot. Now McKenzie breaks through 3 tackles, but he's put into touch from a Safa Moore, just running out of space. And it will now be the Hurricanes who have gotten themselves the line-out throw. Where are the in-laws when you need them? Says yikes. Yeah, 2 missed tackles in a row on Damian McKenzie, but Asafa Moore manages to keep that leg in his grasp and puts him over the touchline. Throwing it in, claimed by the Chiefs. Knock on from Caleb Delaney. Yeah, line-out time has been extremely rough from both of these sides. Key party probably, says a Fluffy. Just said that the Hurricanes do look like the more rattled side out of the two for this half. In the first half, though, you would say that the Chiefs were the side that didn't look as safe with the ball in hand. Many moons ago, the wingers used to throw the ball in. There's Joe Webby. And FFS says a Razor Robinson there as well. Like I said, the Hurricanes, they are underdogs. They are considered $4 underdogs in this contest compared to the Chiefs, who are $1.27 favourites. And this is infuriating. A fab game, this one, says Marco. Has potential of going down to the wire, just like we've seen for the other two games of Super Rugby Pacific in this round. Moana Pacifica and the Reds going right down to the final moments. Same with that game between the Crusaders and the Waratahs. You need to shave, says Carmen. How come? What's wrong with the... Like, there's a little bit of facial hair there, but it's not terrible yet, is it? Although, to be fair, I was probably going to shave tonight anyway. That's going to be knocked on by Samapeni Finau. 24 minutes remaining in this contest. Percentage of tackles made, 80% for Samapeni Finau. He's had 7 carries as well. I didn't get up at 3 a.m. to watch the Canes lose. Come on, boys. Looked like a terrorist, says Fluffy. In there. Interesting. And come on, Kane, stop playing with their cowbells and ring him. Someone blocked me, says Carmen. But I'm reading your messages. Yo, are you racist? Says Mr. Bravestone. I am not, no. I feel like we had a little patch in the chat. Everyone was just like, you know what, we'll let out intrusive thoughts. Put it in. It is looking good, no need to shave. Says Coding, who do you fancy in Leinster versus La Rochelle? No sitting on the fence, Leinster. There you go. But La Rochelle are going to be right in it. And I think that Leinster at home, that is the big difference. If Leinster were going to La Rochelle for that game, I think that La Rochelle would win it. Game of two halves. They just knew the Chiefs would finally get some luck and go bang. Says Joe Webby. The ground four from Josh Morby. Moving to 40 metres out from the line. TJ Perenara, skip pass on the short side out wide. That is a high shot coming in from Ollie Norris. Was it not high? No, they've said he's fine with it, by the sounds of it. We have got there, not so brave. No, Hamish is a good bloke. Please spread your lights elsewhere, KGs, mate. Says Marco. And there as well. Now passing on the outside, Kanina hole low to Josh Morby. Another offload to TJ Perenara. He'll get another one. He moves up to 62, and him and Julian Savi are now tied again for the leading Super Rugby scorers. Morning, mate. Close game. Can't wait for the Leinster La Rochelle. Are you doing that game, mate? Any idea who's going to win? So I am covering that one, and yeah, I'm thinking Leinster going to win it close in that contest. God bless you, says Joseph. And intrusive thoughts because the Canes are losing. Says Raisin was a great tackle. Says yikes. Are you have some cricket training to play or not? Nah, no cricket at the moment. We're in the off season, so yeah, no cricket taking place, which is a bit of a shame. I wouldn't mind a bit of cricket. Oh, we'll go like that, and we will go like that as well. And yeah, TJ does it. I had a feeling he was going to have a blind, and TJ is the man, says Fleshton. And what I'm late, I see the Chiefs are winning. Is there any other games this weekend or any games next weekend? Next weekend we have got the 4 matches again that will be taking place. How's TJ been going? Is he Cam Gray? He's been solid in this game. He's letting everyone know. Do not forget about him. And he also can lead a haka, so that is good news to the Yabies. Well, what a try, says Choke the Woke. Now Brett Cameron will line up this kick and does sneak it just inside of the left-hand post. And that will make the score now 24 points to 23 in favour of the Hurricanes, who now are back to favourites in this contest. He's not Cam Roygaard, but he's okay. One more try to come for TJ tonight. He's not finished yet. Says Pete D. 20 minutes still remaining between these two sides. Peter Lakai hits that ball up. Runs it straight at Jimmy Tupou. And let's go, says Razor Robinson, and bites nails. And a smiley face from Robert as well. Perenara rolling this ball back. Okay, is a bit low. For him, he's great. O'Shea onto the field. That is for Sititi. That is the loose forward trio that some people thought would be the starting three in this contest. How long can the streak keep going? Which streak are you talking? You're talking the Hurricanes winning streak or the Chiefs winning streak up against the Hurricanes? Because they have won the last 5 games between these two sides. Kicked him behind from McKenzie. That's close to a 50-22, but I believe it was taken back. And Chiefs been putting lots of pressure on Cameron tonight. Clear game plan, says Razor Robinson. Now line out throw for Asafa Amua. 20 minutes still left. There is a bonus point on the line for both of these sides in terms of whoever is within 7 Chiefs against the Hurricanes. Well, that's the thing. They don't play too often. Like, you normally get either 1 or 2 games. That's going to be stolen there from Samapeni Finau. He was almost breaking away for the try, but they do go back for the original penalty in favour of the Hurricanes. And I know, come on, Chiefs, whoop whoop, says Moa Hunters. Adesanya said he moved from Whanganui to Auckland. Has anyone been to Whanganui? Is it boring? I think it's alright. I'm trying to think of what there is there. I know I've never been, but like, I know that Palmerston North got a bit of a bad rap by I think it was the Spanish women's football team. They said that the place had nothing to do and it was making them sad, so they had to leave. Which, I mean, is quite the compliment to a town. TJ would be a good in Hobbits basketball team. Can't do that, son, and go to Waikato Chiefs. Says Christopher Dixon. Devon Flanders. Yeah, the Spanish girls. Says Annoy. We got a super sticker from Scott as well. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciated there. Still got that massive fish in hand. I feel like that should be the goal, Scott. If you're still fishing, do you think you're going to catch a bigger fish than that? And are we going to see an upgraded profile picture by the end of the year with a different fish? Hey man, what a battle of running rugby. There's Mr. Orland. Speaking of running rugby, Geordie Barrett in space. Now another step. Perenara going back to Pauri Rakiti Stones. They have got numbers to this left-hand side. Safa Moore going straight through. He's got men with him. He flicks it on the inside but couldn't get it into the hands of Josh Morby. That was a good chance there though. Another meets Dunedin. That place is wild. Says Gadzanel, it's like Hamilton Township, only smaller. And yeah, but the Spaniards had the luxury of world-class training facilities. In Palmerston North, says JSP. I mean, they must have worked because I think they won the whole World Cup, didn't they? Let's get downfield from Damien McKenzie from inside of his 22. But the pressure is back on every time. We're seeing that nice line breaking from Palmy, by the way. Says JSP, like, I like Palmerston North. To be fair, how often do you do fishing and cook the trapped fish? Says Coding. The trapped fish. Like, isn't it trapped because it's got a hook in its mouth? Or like, are you thinking of like crabbing? Like how they use lobster or crab pots and whatnot. For that one. No, damn it. Says Razor Robinson, Moana Pacific had a great game. A 1 pointer, I think, says Kevin. Yep. Getting themselves a big win. Another Palmy fella, no way. Says Pads Ablaze. And the Palmy Army. Oh, that's going to be nicely thrown in by the Hurricanes. Well, now 30 metres out from the line. Good shot coming in on Geordie Barrett. Perenara looking to the short side. Flat to Poldy Rackety Stones. And well, okay, nice views. Says Annoy. Now, we've seen the change of Bradley Slater onto the field for Taukiaho. Palmerston North, hide your light bulbs. Says Marco. 17 minutes remaining in this match. Second half felt a little bit longer than the first, but that is because these sides are sitting extremely even at the moment. Perenara tries to step, does get hit hard by Samapeni Finau. Trying to swat that ball away was Bradley Slater, which I believe would almost be a knock on. They have got the advantage now. Peter Lakai puts in the spin, and they'll go back for it was lost for first by the Hurricanes. That is from the TMO, who has made that decision. They would turn violent. Vieira caught and fried. Says Kitsanel. Wakalewere is very hit and miss man. Has some big discipline in the areas. But all the potential in the world. Sometimes he looks like he isn't trying. A bit like Satutu, I find, says Razor Robinson. That's probably a good comparison. They're very hot and cold. But if they can have a big season, could find themselves in the ABs. If you've got a light bulb in your mouth, it's impossible to get it back out. Interesting. I know that some people have done that with a trumpet. Like the ice cream. They've gone to bite it and then it's got stuck and they couldn't bite down because their jaw got locked. You know. It's a bit of useless information that I just shared. But yeah. Do not go and put a trumpet in your mouth, ladies and gentlemen, is what I'm telling you. Kick downfield. Cleaned up by Kini Naholo. 40 metres out from his line. And Friday was yesterday, though. Says Mark, it depends how big the light bulb is, says Annoy. I'm going from 40 metres out from their own line to 40 metres from the Chiefs line. Hurricanes in just the one phase. DJ Penanata, rush defence there from the Chiefs. Leaves a big gap for Josh Morby to be able to run up the middle. Doesn't get the offload away, and McKenzie hit hard in that breakdown. Perenata, short side, they've got the numbers. Ruben Love hits it up. Would need to be smashed to release it. Ouch, broken glass, says JSP. Now Perenata back across to Geordie Barrett. Tried to go through, but he is stopped by Cortez Aratama again, who's had a busy game at halfback. And damn Canes are slicing us up, says Marco. Yeah, some very good running coming from the Hurricanes, and I think it's all stemming from the Chiefs trying to rush up and shut down that Canes backline, which is then allowing those gaps to open up, and just taking one powerful run is enough to get the Hurricanes past. Good hands from Asafa Moa off the bounce pass there, and he's gone through again. Another missed tackle, this time from Jimmy Tupou. And Peter Lakai around the side of the breakdown. Still available there. Perenara goes across to Billy Proctor. Kudos to the Chiefs defence, says JSP. I know that they missed 12 tackles throughout the first half. I'm not sure what the stat is now for the second. Another flat run from Geordie Barrett on the ball for Jacobson, but can't get the turnover. Now Brett Cameron sells the dummy 10 metres from the line now for the Canes. Perenara on back across to Geordie Barrett. Handling error from Billy Proctor. Not for the first time today, but it goes backwards. They do lose a lot of metres in the process. Big shot coming in from Atina Nanasatora. Didn't look like a huge amount of arms involved in it. Geordie Barrett on the short side. Gets it away to Morby. Now they're 5 metres from the line. Passes it up to Duplessis Karifi. And it's the try for Kini Naholo. Just remember what a trumpet is. Not a musical instrument, says Fluffy. Sticks and stones won't break my bones, and words will never hurt me. Leave this bloke alone. That was just because he didn't shave. Plays a dodgy guitar pretty bad. Saying that he's a good guy. Well done, says Dennis. That's the kindest thing we've heard today, I would say. And when is Edinburgh playing? They are playing at 11:30, so in 3 hours' time. And come on, baby, give me my multi. Says Mr. All-In. I said the score, not just scoreboard, not updated. Says Glenn Woods. Right there. Actually checking back for a bit of foul play. In fact, no. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. From Geordie Barrett hitting Damian McKenzie. Maybe a different angle might show us something different. That's a long way back as well. They're showing shoulder into the head. Oh. Referee says he doesn't see any foul play. TMO's trying to say there is. Oh. Referee says, TMO, shove your opinion up where the sun don't shine. It's going to be a try. It's all good. Try has been scored, says the referee. Absolutely rubbish. Rugby ref. Says Mr. All-In, what else are you supposed to do? But yeah, like the TMO said shoulder to the head. James Dolman said, I see nothing wrong with that. So the TMO then said, oh, well then you can award the try then. In the most defeated voice possible. Leave it, refs. Carry on. says Marco. And who won the game between Fijiana Droy and Melbourne Rebels? I think they're still playing, aren't they? For the Super Rugby Women's AU. Oh no, it's half time, or second half at the moment. Rebels are winning 27 points to 14 as it currently sits. Time, please. At the moment, we are 68 minutes through. The scoreboard's a little bit behind. There we go. Has now caught up. The same blind TMO who ignored the tackle earlier on the hooker. Says Hanoi. And damn few thanks, Hamish thought it was no try. And too many inputs from the TMOs in recent history, says JSP. Now, Brett Cameron has missed, which means the score is only separated by 6, which gives the Chiefs a chance to being able to get back in. But at the same time, gives the Hurricanes a handy lead. Chiefs are now $5.25 underdogs in this game, ladies and gentlemen, and that will continue to grow if they can't get the little things right. And Chiefs need to convert a try. They certainly do. Common sense prevails. Love to see it. Says Razor Robinson taken down by the Chiefs. Now they are back in possession after retaining their own kick. Now there was a shanking of a kick. Come on, Brett. Says Razor, and it keeps the Chiefs in the game. We are still, that's a knock on though. That will hurt them. And another nail biter, like Dawaz earlier. Yeah, it seems like all the games of Super Rugby have the potential of going right down to the wire here. It was knocked on by Luke Jacobson, who gets a bit of a knock on the back of the head from Jimmy Tupou, saying don't worry about it. TJ Perenata making his way from the field. I was not slapping the bottle to try and get more water out. Plenty was coming, but Perenata, in terms of the overall all-time try scorers for Super Rugby, he is sitting on 62, the same as Julian Savia. And Cameron is kind of a weak link, but he's from Manawatu, so I want him to be there, says JSB. Water Slapper, says Fluffy, that is not a nickname that is going to be starting up. And Canes win. It's good for Rebels later also. And kick converted, it was missed. And come on, the Chiefs. Big scrum there from this Chiefs side, but the ball comes out the back door and Judd does kick it downfield if you want to find something to not allow a try. This is where the rugby officials has lost the plot. There's Joe Webby and TJP getting the hongies from the brethren, says Marco, and Richie Judd says Razor. Now, Tenainana Satoro, just outside of his 22, will kick it off his left boot. It's out on the full. That is a big mistake from the Chiefs number 11, and it has given the Hurricanes the perfect chance to now get back in. Like they said at the start of the half, the Hurricanes were flustered. The Chiefs had the momentum. The Canes have now been able to take this one back. It has literally been a game of 4 quarters rather than a game of 2 halves. We saw the Hurricanes dominate the first 20. The Chiefs, the second 20, I would say, went in their favour. Then it was the Chiefs for the first 20 of the second half. The last 20 at the moment is the Canes. He's had a shocker tonight at Tenainana Satoro. And Chiefs need to win, says Jay McCann. Pori Rakiti Stones hits the ball into Ollie Norris. Geordie Barrett thought about the inside ball, but he's tackled there by Dyer. And Summer Penny Finau, leaping run there from Kenny Naholo. Now Judd goes off to Geordie Barrett. Numbers there for a sophomore. Down on the wing. They can't stop him. He's too big, too strong. And the Canes will get themselves another. He is definitely All Blacks potential. A sophomore. Of course, he's been in there in the past, but he is showing why he should be there again. That's it. Throws toys out of the cot and can't give up more space. Yeah, about 20 metres to run to the line. 3 Chiefs players could not stop that man. And honestly, New Zealand is goated, says Jay McCann. And yes, boy, says Razor Robinson and can't give him more space. And let's go, says Padza Blaze. And I'm all on the wing. We love to see it. There's Razor Robinson there as well. Oh my goshness, Hurricanes too good. Well done, fellas. In the 1960s, 70s, no TMOs. They were great games. Why TMOs now, says Kevin. I think it is to do with the player safety side of things. Like, of course, they want to limit head knocks if they can because of the lawsuits that have come from past games and past generations. Once he gets his throw-in right, he would be first pick, says Joe Webby. Now 7 minutes remaining. Cameron to line up this kick, and he has got this one over, making the score now 36 points to 23. And we're having a blinder, worked hard all night, says Pete D, and maybe we need to move Levi to hooker and suffer out to the backs, crikey. I'm so sad, lol, says a Nov mum there. But Conrad Smith watching on for this game, loving the action. He'll be very happy with what his Hurricanes have been able to do throughout this game. Although I should mention it is still not over. We've got 6.5 minutes remaining and the Chiefs are in position. If they can close the gap back to within 7, it's all on for young and old for the final 5 minutes of this contest. And Terry Moana has said yes. And as well, very happy with what the Hurricanes and Asafa Moa have been able to do throughout this game. Xavier Rowe playing halfback goes off to Damien McKenzie, who has had a very quiet kind of contest. Hasn't been able to find the gaps for too many of his teammates. And loving this, bro, says Paul Elliott. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated you being here for this one. There will be another penalty, this time going the way of the Chiefs. And it looks like they will kick this one towards the touchline. Got to love a front row who can cut up the line. There's JSP. Is TJ still on? He is not. No, he has been taken off. Richard Judd is the man who was on there for the final 10 minutes of this matchup. So him and Julian Savia at the end of this round will once again be tied for leading try scorer of all time. 62 each. Bloody hell, Richard Judd. It's going over the top. It's going to be cleaned up by James O'Reilly, the replacement for Asafa Moa. Now Judd goes off to Caleb Delaney. I just called to say I love you. Says Blues, Nat and Hurricanes all day, baby. Says Daryl, and also come on the Hurricanes, says Terry Moana. Looks like Richard Judd is going to go for the box kick. Gets it down towards the halfway line. Atino Nanasatoro takes it, gives it across to Ioane on the right-hand side. And Moni Narua has got the skip pass option out to Rameka Poihipi. To come into the lineup late for Anton Leonard Brown. Was not off the bench either. Pressure put on by Kenny Naholo, but he wasn't in offside position, so that will be another penalty to the Chiefs. It all uses up time. You can't afford to give away too many of those penalties. All the way from Perth, the Force will get eaten by the Crusaders next Saturday, says Paul. It's going to be a tough game for the Force, and to be honest, like week in, week out, I have no idea what to expect from the Western Force. Like they either play very well, and you go, oh, okay, they beat the Reds, they're a good side. And then they play like they have in other games and you go, oh, not good for the Western Force. Like, I think the Crusaders should win that game comfortable, even though they are away from home for that contest. I'm a Munster guy. I want to see Leinster win this game later on. Don't understand all these silly comments on other sites from other so-called Irish fans hoping for a French win on the other sites. Says Dennis there. And where you from, bro? I am from the South Island of New Zealand. But I'm pretty, like, in terms of location, I'm pretty much impartial because I'm halfway in between Dunedin and Christchurch. So makes it nice and easy to be impartial for these games. Looks like Hurricanes once again from inside of their 22 will put this ball in touch. The Force are like a cold pie. It's probably a fair analogy. Tell you what, I once got traumatized at the supermarket. I was there with my friends. And you know those pies that you got to heat up to be able to eat, like the mince and cheese or one of those ones? Like they bought one of those chilled and they just started eating it outside of the supermarket. And I was like, you boys are broken. Like, how are you doing that? But they were like a full-on like cold pie, which I think I can relate to for the Western Force too. Come on, Kenny, no yellow cards late into the piece, please, says Rays. And already another offside advantage against the Hurricanes here. Xavier Rowe with 3 minutes left on the clock. If they score a try now and convert, they are still in with a shot. Run from Quinn Tupaia, late inclusion into the bench. The Makiki Fries from Waimati, mate. Not quite there, from about 10 minutes north of Waimati. Cold pie is good for hangovers, says Fluffy. Yeah, but like straight from the chilled section of a supermarket like that stuck with me till today, that they did that. Western Force sometimes play like cold pies. Have a cold pie sandwich, you'll love it. Says Joe Webby, nice pass out wide. Bang, fend off from Quintupai. Gets within 5 metres for the Chiefs. This game is not over yet. I don't mind a cold pie or pasty, says Fleshin. I feel like a cold pie after it's been cooked would be alright, maybe. But this was straight from the supermarket, from the fridge. I was like, boys, it's just not right. And I'm sorry for offending you. Handle the candle. We have got there, how come you're 78? Mine says 74. Says Tere Moana. So mine is currently 78 minutes in, so you may be a little bit behind on the coverage. Possibly, because live on Sky for me, or anyway at the point of Sky that I'm watching, it's 78 minutes in. It looks like Xavier Rowe has been taken off the field. That is for Kutes Ratama. There was a knock on. A head knock, I should say. All views are wrong. Straight from the freezer is disgusting, says WOTB. But if the Hurricanes win this game, they will be sitting top of the table with 7 wins from 7. McKenzie puts it into touch. There is 1 minute 50 remaining. If the Chiefs can get themselves a converted try now, they will be back in this contest. If they miss that conversion, though, they cannot win from here. Now, nicely thrown in. 10 metres from the line. Every second that the Hurricanes can use up here strategically, they will. But 90 seconds still left as this rolling maul starts to march. The ideal scenario for them would be a penalty try here for the Chiefs. It's going to be dragged down. Hurricanes shutting it down beautifully. The ball pops out the back door. Quintupai cleans it up. They are still 10 metres from the line. In fact, make it 15 after the driving tackle from the Canes. Duplessis Karefi gives away the penalty. If you want to contest, get the tackler out first. I think that Karefi, yes, he wanted to get that turnover, but at the same time, he knew if he did go for it, if there was going to be a penalty, it would use up enough time. Okay, James Dolman's pretty much said anything down here and he goes, but that used up a good 30 seconds for that penalty. No one likes a cold pie, bro, says Paul. And yes, says Razor Robinson. So I think Jacobson was a little bit frustrated. He's gone, that's used up a lot of extra time, and it's pretty cynical, but for the Chiefs now, they've only got 30 seconds remaining, and they have to make sure they score and convert. McKenzie goes off. That's going to be well claimed. I think Quintupai is asking for a knock on. How can you have a knock on, Quinn, when he catches the ball after fumbling it? And now next 20 seconds, the Hurricanes in possession. Let's put out the Dongers and have a sword fight. Hurricanes do good, baby Chahu, but the siren sounds. The Canes kick it into touch and they win this game by 13 points. And that is now 3 from 3 in terms of the underdogs of this round who have got themselves the victories. The Rebels are the underdog for the 4th game. Can they do the same? Yes, oh yes, and grr, says Novmum. And also we got the Hurricanes do good, baby Chahu. And very strong statement, says Mr. Orland. So they now go 7 from 7 for this season. Well done, the Hurricanes in there as well. And how have the Canes got this good this year? I have the others dropped off. I think that they've just found some really strong chemistry, and their backline's extremely strong. Like, you look through at it, Geordie Barrett, Billy Proctor, Josh Morby, Ruben Love, Kenny Naholo, Brett Cameron, TJ at the moment. That is a winning combination for the Hurricanes, it would seem. And the fact that they don't have Roygaard, of course, that'll hurt them a bit. Just showing that last-minute turnover from Brett Cameron. Nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. The next game that we will be covering on the channel, it is going to be at 11:20 p.m. New Zealand time, so that is in 2.5 hours, and that will be the matchup taking place between the Sharks and Edinburgh. So be sure to keep an eye out for that. Alongside that, we are also going to be keeping you updated with what is happening in the contest between the Rebels and the Highlanders at that 11:20 time. And Laidlaw has unlocked the potential for this team. And thanks so much off to say goodbye to a young guy that passed away too soon. And thanks for your great work on here till later on. Take care, mate, says Dennis, and you too. And yeah, I'm sorry for your loss there. And cheers, Hamish, says Glenn Woods, and great call, Hamish, peace. Everyone, even you need, or you, brother Nate, says yikes. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. End score 36 points to 23. And we will see you all for Uh,